You are listening to Morning Edition on 89.3 WFPL. I'm Bill Burton, and it's time for us to take a look at the science behind the forecast as I am joined by Wave 3 meteorologist Tawana Andrew. Good morning, Tawana.
Good morning. Today we're talking about something that has really taken the weather and news world by storm, a different
Ooh,
category of hurricanes.
taking it by storm. I see what you did there. We all know there's no such thing as a good hurricane. Category 1 is bad, Category 5 is horrible, but there's been talk of potentially adding in a Category 6. So what do we need to know about a potential Category 6, the pluses and the minuses of creating another category?
Yeah, so hurricanes are ranked from 1 to 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. With a category 5 storm, you get sustained winds in excess of 157 miles per hour. Now, the recent study that everybody's been talking about proposes the need for a category 6 storm, as we are starting to see some stronger hurricanes across the globe. So just to break it down, a hurricane needs a couple of things to form. You need a tropical wave, which is basically an area of low pressure that travels across the ocean, warm water, so 80 degrees to a depth of at least 164 feet. You need thunderstorms, and you need low wind shear to help keep that storm from being ripped apart. So you have category 5 with winds of excess of 157, but this study suggests that we have category 6 with winds of over 192 miles per hour. It's important to keep in mind that only 5 storms have been this strong since 2013. None of these storms have been in the Atlantic basin. The only storm that has been close to impacting the United States was the one that was Hurricane Patricia back in 2015. And that storm had winds in excess of 200 miles per hour at its peak, but it weakened before it made landfall. So we've had storms this strong, yes. And we are seeing storms getting stronger because the warm ocean is getting even warmer. Over the last century, global sea average temperatures have risen just shy of 2 degrees Fahrenheit. And according to some research, a 1 degree Fahrenheit jump in ocean temperatures can increase a hurricane's wind speed by 15 to 20 miles per hour. So average sea temperatures have risen just 2 degrees, of just shy of 2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 40 miles per hour. That is a significant jump. And I think a lot of people remember last summer, 2023, we had sea surface temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the Gulf of Mexico. You only really need 80 degrees. That's 20 degrees above where we were. So that really just puts into perspective how warm the ocean has been getting and the impact that can have on the wind speeds. So this study postulated that the risk of a storm with 192 miles per hour winds would increase by 50% once global warming exceeded that 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels that everyone always talks about. So we are getting closer to that point where we could see more of these stronger storms with, let's say, 192 miles per hour. Now that I've said that, I think I might have freaked out a couple of people, but it's important to put this all into perspective, especially from a meteorological side of things, because yes, it could cover the increasing wind, but there is concern that it would diminish the current messaging that we have as meteorologists. So the National Hurricane Center classifies a category 5 storm with catastrophic, that's the word they use, catastrophic damage that could leave an area, quote, uninhabitable for weeks or months. So that kind of covers everything pretty well on its own. But there's concern that with category 5 no longer the top category, that people would not take any risk as seriously as they should. Because remember, category 5 is still winds of 157 miles per hour. So you still got to be paying attention to that and not just looking for, the top category of potentially category 6. But it's also important to note that the Saffir-Simpson scale only covers the wind, just the wind. Hurricanes can produce damaging storm surge and heavy rainfall that leads to flooding. And there was a study done by some folks at the National Hurricane Center that found that 49% of tropical cyclone-related deaths in the U.S. were actually caused by the storm surge, rain-related flooding caused about 27% of the deaths. And then for wind, just 8%. So it's going to be important to, of course, keep the wind as a factor when talking about hurricanes. But for us as meteorologists overall, it's super vital that we include all related threats when communicating with anyone in the path of those storms.
And now we have a much better understanding of the potential benefits and problems with a Category 6 hurricane. And we know this now because of the latest edition of Science Behind the Forecast with Wave 3 meteorologist Tawana Andrew. Thanks for the knowledge, Tawana.
Of course.